I'm cutting up some firewood today. About a week ago I piled all this wood up and just thought I'd give a couple of pointers today for people who don't ever do this. So you'll notice I've got it all just kind of randomly stacked on top of each other, and I do that for a reason, because this way I can go in there and I can cut all these pieces up. If I stacked them all nice and neat, every one of them I'd have to roll them out before I could cut them up, and they'd be like this. They'd be on the ground once I rolled them out of the pile. And then, you know, you can't cut all the way through them. This way I can just cut these lengths off nice and easy. Now, when you do this, it does present some hazards in that you have to worry about things rolling down on you and binding, and take that information for what it's worth. Let me show you a couple things about when you're cutting through a log when it's on the ground. Now, this is a tool that a friend of mine gave me probably close to 40 years ago. It's made for this situation when they're sitting on the ground. You can hook this on there, and then you roll it back like this, and it holds the log up so you can cut the ends off. But it's actually really kind of annoying because you have to do this work. You get about 3 links off of it, and then you have to stop, roll it back, come back, and then when it gets short, you cut them off and it's rocking back and forth. So this thing really is not that useful for this. I find it much easier to just cut your log, and I'll show you here in a minute, but cut the log halfway through and then roll it. Now, this log is nice and straight and it's on a flat surface, and so you can really just give it a push with your foot, and you really don't need much to turn it with. I also have this one called, I call it a cant hook. Some people call it a peavy. But you hook it in and you can use it to turn your logs like that. All right, let's go ahead and let's get this one cut up. You probably noticed as I was working along, I was using my bar to measure my logs, and I would encourage you to do that. It's a quick and simple, easy way to do that. They sell these things that stick out, you know, so you can kind of mark, which I don't know why you would do that. They're in the way. All you need to do is just find a place on your saw that is the length of what you need the log to be. So mine works out to right about here on my saw, but you know, it could be over here where this nut is. I mean, just find a place on your saw that is the length that you need your logs to be, and it's super easy to just walk your way down and measure your logs as you go. All right, so you can see these IBC totes in the background. That's where the firewood's going to go after we split it. I have a separate video on how I made those and a system that I set up so that I only have to handle this firewood one time. We split it, we put it into there. I take my tractor with the forks, put it in the barn. Then when I need it, I move it up to the house. I made some dollies, which I've got a video on that, to roll it into the garage. And so I don't manually, once it's split, we put it in there, we don't touch it again. Okay, so with this log right here, it's touching at this end and this end. So that means it's wanting to sag down like this. So if I try to cut it down straight like this, it's gonna pinch and bind my saw. So you'll see I'm gonna have to use a different technique to get this one cut up. That's got it all cut. It's about an hour and 15 minutes after I started. Now, this method of cutting it out of a pile might not be the safest or the smartest way to do it. Get in the comments and tell me how you do it. But because you are, you know, walking through logs and all that kind of stuff, I'd be interested to know how other people do this. I've just been doing it this way my whole life. All right, well, I hope this was at least interesting to you. Remember, do this at your own risk. Thank you for watching.